Did you see something when you were in Nahida's body?
The Akademiya is turning the Balladeer into a god?
We finally made it to Caravan Rebat. It's pretty lively here.
Enough gawking.
I hate
Follow
them.
me. Are you interested at all in sharing what you've been hiding from me?
That's because I was so shocked to hear those words again. World, forget me.
So that's your answer. Well, I do work for the Akademiya after all. So considering that, it is indeed wise to keep your cards close to your chest. But that does prove you do have some undisclosed information about the Divine Knowledge Capsule. Am I right? No matter. Rather than simply learning the answers from you, I'd still prefer to investigate on my own. Speaking of, you two are also headed to the desert?
That's right! We have the same plan as you! But we don't really have any concrete goals at the moment.
Then I'd suggest starting with Aru Village. It's the largest settlement in the desert, so it'll probably have more resources and intel than anywhere else. Well, would you like to head there together?
Okay. Didn't expect that. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why? Why is he attacking us?
Cyno. Unless my memory fails me, we have barely spoken 2 words to each other before now at the Akademiya. Would you care to enlighten me as to when and how I invited the General Mahamatra's wrath?
A little while ago, I discovered that there was data missing in the Akademiya's project planning and development files. What little they did report clearly did not match the project's actual progress. As General Mahamatra, I had the responsibility and authority to request an audit. However, to my surprise, the person responsible for the erroneous data was none other than Grand Sage Azar himself.
Well, Cyno,
Absolutely.
if that's your story, then why did you see Alhaitham as a target?
When I was investigating the matter in the Akademiya, I overheard a conversation between Alhaitham and a sage. The sages asked you to investigate a blonde-haired traveler. Do you dispute this, Alhaitham?
What?
Yes. I was indeed tasked with investigating the traveler.
Alhaitham?
After all, the promised reward was so great that hardly any scholar could have refused. The sage told me, once you've completed this assignment, I can give you a glimpse of divine knowledge. Unfortunately, those academics don't know me at all. Their words contained one key piece of information, namely that divine knowledge indeed exists. That gave me all I needed to know. From my perspective, the sages are far from trustworthy. Think about it. Isn't it a little strange they're so willing to share divine knowledge with anyone, even as a reward? Had I been less guarded, I probably would have ended up like that Ain al-Ahmar mercenary, incapable of remaining sane for long enough to hold a conversation.
You mean that the sages originally planned to dispose of you, using one of those capsules that drive people insane?
And now you, Dehya. I believe it's your turn.
Oh, sorry. Whatever the boys were talking about must have been so boring that I spaced out.
What?
Excuse me, are you here to help me find my grandpa? Huh? Who are you?
Yep, this is the place.
Well, this is an
This
ambush.
place is practically deserted.
Why don't you take a guess? Go on, a wild stab in the dark.
Did he just betray us?
You're like lambs to the slaughter.
Oh my god.
Didn't you say you'd help me find Grandpa?
Huh?
With these scholars in our custody, we'll stomp the Akademiya's forces and fight our way beyond the wall of Samiel.
Ridiculous. Think about it. The Akademiya controls the entirety of Sumeru. Your powers are negligible in comparison. If you still don't believe me, then try asking these two men. They're also against the Akademiya, but neither of them are as arrogant as you are.
They look more like pawns of the Akademiya to me. Why would I listen to anything the people of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata have to say? Filthy traitors. Your god abandoned all honor and betrayed the Scarlet King. We desert dwellers will never trust the likes of you.
These people have no value as bargaining chips, but I could be persuaded to take their place as your next hostage. These scholars were exiled from the Akademiya. I, on the other hand, am their current scribe, and will be a much greater asset to you.
Wait, you can't be serious.
So, you want to trade places with the hostages, do you?
This feels
Precisely.
like a trap.
Any wise person would gladly accept my offer. Huh. They got here before us. You brought fewer people than I imagined.
Bring him over.
Grandpa! Why is there only one of them?
Raman, I've always thought of you as a man of his word. What's this about?
It's a one-for-one exchange. Sounds fair, don't you think? And let me put it this way. Agreeing to any kind of deal with the Dendro Archon's people is already a huge compromise on my part. Don't you think you've asked enough?
Really, man? It's about to go down. Dehya's pissed. Holy shit.
Playmate! What do you think you're doing?
Don't you see this blade here? You coward! Why are your hands shaking? Wait a second! It's a earthquake!
Whoa. What the? Nahida.
I saw an energy field. The village keeper protected us. It glowed green with dendro. Just like you said, it may well have been the remains of Lesser Lord Kusanali's power inside the scholar's body.
What's he doing here? And his men too?
They must have fallen down here with us. Pretty lucky if you ask me.
Mind your head.
No, this isn't the time for conflict. Our exalted lord has shown us the way to his sacred palace.
He's not actually gonna go in there, is he?
As it happens, I want to take a look inside too.
Raman, what are you gonna do about your men?
I'll just let them lay here. The Scarlet King will take care of his people. Right now,
Really?
I'm going inside.
Wow. What the hell?
Wait. What's that?
Oh, these are Scarlet King runes.
Excellent. There's a device from the Scarlet King's civilization in this gravesite. I'll transmit the information over and project it for everyone to see.
Isn't sharing knowledge against the Akademiya's rules?
Yes. However, under the circumstances, I'd prefer you to see this for yourself. You'll understand after watching it.
civilization is born of knowledge, but so too can knowledge be its demise. A disaster caught us unaware. It was knowledge that did not belong to this world. The Scarlet King brought this forbidden knowledge into our world, and it quickly spread like a plague. People's minds were filled with crazed whispers. Dark gray scales spread across their bodies.
What?
Even the land was stripped of its vigor. Only a desperate, deathly silence remained.
This is kind of creepy.
Were it not for greater Lord Rukkhadevata from the forests, the damage would have been irreversible. She summoned the priests to build temples and infused into them the divine power of life. The disaster was miraculously tempered, and the embers of our civilization were preserved in Aru village. Alas, the miracle could not last. As long as forbidden knowledge continued to exist, it would forever blight this world. In the end, the proud king of the desert, my eternal lord, chose to sacrifice himself. I have spent my whole life since guarding one of these many temples. But now, my duty is coming to an end. As I close my eyes for the final time, the sight of that noble deity will appear in my vision once more. In helping the Scarlet King to eradicate forbidden knowledge, she exhausted her strength, and her form became that of a small child. How strange. Now that I think of her, I no longer have any fear of death, for I sense that the spirit of life will abide with me during my eternal sleep. Children of the desert, cling no longer to past grievances, but hold tight to the memory of this act of benevolence.
No, impossible.
So they're the same person? Rukkhadevata and Nahida are the same person?
You might be distrustful of the Akasha, but there's no reason for you to doubt the Scarlet King's technology. You've just witnessed his priest's last words.
I've never heard about any of this before. Dehya, this is where our camp's located. Make a note of it.
When would be a good time for us to go?
Tomorrow, I'll convince everyone that we're all on the same side. And I'll return every last one of your your village keepers. We'll share our other resources with you, too.
You seem to finally understand that our true enemy is the sages.
Yes. The gods never gave up on anyone. It's the people responsible for all this that need to face the consequences of their actions.
It says they're trying to create a new god, aren't they?
Uh-huh. That sure didn't sound like a fancy metaphor or anything. You're serious, aren't you?
How did you know? There's no use hiding it now. Yes, you're right. The Akademiya is working on an important and potentially world-changing project. They are creating a new god. A god that will belong to them and to the people of Sumeru.
Continue.
And then, someone from the Fatui showed up. They called him the Doctor. He brought a gnosis and said he wanted to borrow the Akademiya's research facilities. The Doctor was previously expelled from the Akademiya. At first, the sages looked down at him in disdain. But when he said those words, everyone's expression changed. He asked them, "Do you wish to create a god?"
This is what the arrogant ignorance at the extreme end of Akademiya looks like.
First, the Akademiya spent a long time constructing a divine vessel, which was based on an exquisite humanoid puppet. After that,
Like Scaramouche?
they harvested dreams via the Sebzerus festival Samsara.
Oh no.
maximizing the Akasha's output. With the doctor's help, and the Akasha now functioning at maximum efficiency, they were able to use it to extract the power from the Gnosis and convert it into a divine core. Next, they decided that their new god needed to possess divine wisdom. For that to happen, they needed a huge quantity of divine canned knowledge.
So, this is the path the sages have chosen.
Even though we lived through all of this firsthand, it still feels super surreal to hear you talk about it again.
So, everyone, are we on the same page?
Crush the sages and rescue our god. That is our ultimate goal.